Welcome to Dark and Darker, the Forgotten Castle, the Forsaken Cloister area of the... So this happens to be a fairly common spawn location, and it's actually not too bad. Sorry to show you my shameful behavior as a barbarian there. If you miss with an axe, it's a fairly painful recovery period. But I figured I'd do these walkthroughs of the entire area. They are relatively short, this one being one of the slightly longer ones, because there is a fair amount in this area. Now, the Forsaken Cloister is in the bottom right side of the map, what I refer to as position 13. If I start at the top left and go clockwise around in a spiral. But this area has a lot of beneficial items. And I typically like to clear these top balconies first, just because I don't like the bats interfering with my work and interrupting when I'm trying to take out the skeleton champion. Now I'll show you a couple of tricks when I do that. In this area it's actually quite easy. Ouch. Right, and this is why I don't like archers. They sneak up on you. Now, I figure if I can do this as a barbarian, anybody can do this, because no spells, very few abilities. Not a huge amount of range capabilities, unless it's items I'm carrying. So we're going to do a very thorough walkthrough of this entire area, and you can see what's here. For bats and bat items, this is a really good place to go. You typically find several of these items here. Bat wings, bat leather, bat ears have all been items I've found here. Alright, now, here's the trick with the skeleton champion. He's usually hanging around the center area and you can pull him in. The skeleton archer typically will leave you alone once you get out of the area. But if you draw him up here, he can't attack you if you're standing on this ledge. See? A couple of hatchets to the head, doesn't faze him at all. So I can throw as many of these explosive bottles as I want. And he doesn't budge from that position. So if you were a ranged character, or wanted to deal with him in a more remote fashion, this would be an easy win against the skeleton champion. Get some good items. Potentially. I have found some interesting stuff on him before. Now when you're aiming for him, keep in mind that he has a combo of 3 attacks. If you move out far enough, he'll only trigger the first one. I typically go for the gap between the neck, just above the shield. So, some blue. Not great, but not too bad either. Now there's a series of mobs that spawn here as well. There's one skeleton that typically pops up. There's 2 skeleton archers, and a couple of mummies. Oh, and there's an elite one here too this time. So, in the interest of being expedient, and totally not me getting startled by the elite. I actually got hit there. I do like to sometimes collect the intact skulls. They're not worth a huge amount, but they're not terrible. And they stack, so you can collect up to 3 of them. There's one more. I could have sworn there were a couple more mummies that spawned. That's usually about what you find here in the center area. Now, on other difficulty levels, this may be slightly different. This is PvE. So most of what I find here, at least so far, has been fairly consistent with standard. Sometimes I get some mummies that spawn over here. Now there's usually at least one good chest in here. You can see it right here next to me. There's sometimes stuff hidden on the ground. But I think that was everything. Fortunately for me, I didn't bring lockpicks this time, so no chest for me. Now, the lever there in the center operates this hidden area down below. I have found Royal Coffins down here. Nope. Didn't think the skeleton was that close. Just hoping to lure the bat down first. Nothing great. Now, there should be at least one archer in here, and likely a mummy spawn as well. Fortunately, I usually have at least time to recover and get one good hit in. Yeah, see another skull. Just looking for items here. There's frequently stuff deposited over here that you can find. This is sometimes the Royal Coffin, sometimes there's stuff on the plinth as well, but I'm not seeing very much this time. So it should be a relatively uninteresting one. As you can see, there's a wide variety of chests in this area. And like I said, I'm being thorough, so I'm going to go through almost all of them. Makes it look like there's something there, but I don't think there's any additional secret entrances or hidden areas down here. Nope, nothing here. Sometimes you can find, usually there's only a bat on one side. So, for the sake of thoroughness, I'll go through this outside area. There's typically a few more bats and a couple of skeletons, but really nothing major. Skeleton over here in the corner. Yeah, so nothing worthwhile. There's usually at least some kind of potion here that's out in the open. Magic protection isn't going to do me much good. There's not very many spellcasters in this area, so like I said, I'm going through all of the chests. A lot of times I will find a coffer here. This actually is one of the areas where I have found old rusty keys a lot more than most of the other areas, probably just because there's a lot of chests. Nope, another bat. And this is an elite. 3 hits for that. And then the last thing to clear is this other side here real quick. So I'm being very thorough. The whole thing can be cleared. Those big sword users, I need a little bit more of a runway to get away from them. So from here, I can't carry that. So. Alright, 2 chests here. Looks like one of them's a coffer. So maybe I'll find something good there. If you ever find coffers, always open them. Oh, and look. There's an old rusty key. Time to dump stuff and go find out where to use it. Alright, that's it for now. I'm off.